This is the brand new, completely redesigned Yale binding. For 2020-21, we started from scratch on this binding. It's got a very similar silhouette to last year's model, but believe me, everything on this binding has been completely thought through and redesigned from scratch. Everything fits better, functions better, the tool-free adjustments work better. Every single thing from the footbeds to the dampening pad has been reconsidered and really dialed in. This binding features a extruded aluminum heel cup that's really strong, stiff, and supportive. You won't get those heel cup breaks from any kind of big impact landings that you might have. It's also extremely adjustable. It can slide in and out to really get your board positioned over the center of the board, which optimizes both the performance of the binding, but also the board that you're riding as well. You really get the optimal performance out of the two working in unison. So this is really for more of an intermediate to advanced level rider. This binding is softer than the Magnum. It's got a 14% glass fill compared to the 18% on the Magnum. Glass fill is not about strength, it's about stiffness. So the 14% is a softer, more forgiving binding, which is going to be better for all mountain or someone who's riding park and wants something that's a little more forgiving and flexible. One of the things that you'll notice with this binding, again, that's different from the Magnum is it's got this really cushy gel strap on the ankle. It's really comfortable. It's someone who wants the most amount of comfort over lightweight performance. They want something that's really cushy and soft. It still has the injected toe strap. So when you tighten your ratchets on the toe, it stretches over your boot and it really prevents it from both slipping, but it also pulls the heel of your boot right into the heel cup and really gets a nice snug fit. This binding has cast aluminum buckles which are both lightweight and strong, but they work in unison with our very special custom designed German spring steel springs. These springs are extremely strong. We test them in a lab up to 28,000 clicks, which means that they'll last a very, very, very long time and they won't fail you. We see next to zero of these warranties around the world, and we back this up with a lifetime warranty. Fix is the only snowboard binding brand in the world that has a lifetime warranty on the buckle assemblies themselves. We also have a lifetime warranty on the base trays. We know that our injection is that much stronger than that of the competition because we test. We test our own and we test everyone else's again, and we get a baseline. So we know that our bindings are stronger, okay? So what makes them stronger? This is really important. It's all about regrind. And what is regrind? Regrind are the little bits and pieces that break off from the injection molding process that typically don't need to be needed. They get ground up and injected back into bindings over and over and over again. The fundamental problem with this is that you cannot control how much regrind goes back into injection. So one of the things that Fix does to combat this is pretty simple. We don't allow any regrind in our bindings, zero. We are the only binding brand in the world that doesn't have any regrind. So there's a couple of things. Makes our bindings more expensive to manufacture, yes, but it also makes them considerably stronger, which is better for you. So we don't mind spending the extra money on that if we know you're getting a far superior product. So this is all about value. You cannot compare this next to a binding that's sitting on a shelf next to it because it is that much stronger, whether it's the buckles or the injection. You don't have any regrind. If you put this binding in an X-ray machine and you put it next to a binding from another brand, the other brand the plastic will look like Swiss cheese. It's full of air bubbles. It's going to be susceptible to breakage. You do not get that from Fix. It's a solid first shot, pure injected nylon. This is really, really, really important. So how do we prove that we don't put any regrind back in our bindings? It's pretty simple. A couple of things. This binding is white. The injection is actually white. The material is white. This isn't spray painted white. We don't have any toxins. It's better for the environment. We think it's important as a brand to do things better from an environmental perspective, but also it's showing you that we're not using regrind back in the bindings. You would never be able to get white nylon with regrind. Imagine you're regrinding a bunch of different colors up and pumping it back into a machine. That's going to come out dark and black. You can't get white. So that's proof in the pudding. The second thing that we do to show you that we don't use the regrind is the extras. You notice that when you get your fixed bindings, you get a crate that the actual bindings come in. It's got handles on it. It's a reusable box that you can use to organize your wax kit or your tools in your garage. People do everything from making planters to storing their video games in there, or whatever you need to do. But you get something reusable, and that's actually made from the upcycled waste from our production process. The regrind is the box. It's not in the bindings. So for every single injection that we do an audit. So if they make one base tray, we get the piece from that base tray. So we're able to count one for one. We know that nothing went into our bindings. This is very, very important for the strength and durability of our product. It's something that we're extremely proud of, and we know we're the only brand in the industry that does this. So this binding comes in a medium and a large. There's no small size for the Yale. If you need a small for the aluminum heel cup, you're going to want to go to the Magnum model. Everything else in this binding is designed to be as flexible and customizable as possible, so you get a nice snug fit. The footbed on this binding pops up off the toe. It's a nice simple system, time tested and true. It accesses the disc of the binding, which is both 4x4 and channel compatible, all in the same disc. Everything you need is right in the box. You don't need to buy any extras. What you also get is 2 sets of hardware. The hardware is color-coded so you don't get confused. There's black hardware for the 4x4 and silver for the channel system. The card that the mounting hardware comes with is actually also made from the regrind material and doubles as a wax scraper. So it's something that, again, you don't just throw away. You can use it over and over again. You can scrape the wax off your board. You can keep it in your pocket, get any frozen ice off the base if it's a cold day, and it'll keep you happy and sliding on the hill. So it's a really good binding for someone who is intermediate to advanced, likes park-style riding. It's a very good, well-rounded binding. It's extremely comfortable with these gel straps. This is the 2021 Yale.